Right. So there are a lot of opportunities today that we see for organizations to adopt AI in their organization, and they should, right? But what are the challenges you have observed within the organization? And what do you think needs to be overcome immediately before the next wave of change happens and they're going to be so far behind? What do you think? Who'd like to go first?
I can speak first. I think this is something Charlie mentioned just now. They used to think like to do AI, the lack is a lack of talent, but nowadays it's actually lack of data. Because I think compared to 5 years ago, the graduate student from universities can do as good data science project, AI project as an expert. With the help of AI, maybe they can do even better. However, they cannot do this without valid or correct data. So still a lot of effort goes into curating the data, collecting data, making sure the data is right. So I think the potential point of failure is that if the data is good enough to do certain AI projects, and if this is a right linkage to the AI initiative, so I think this is still something that a lot of organizations need to unlock.
Yes. And Charlie?
Well, I think the biggest barrier is not technology, right? And Dr. Dean did say, we both agree that it's data readiness. But on top of data readiness, it's also there's still an element of skill and trust. So many organizations still struggle with number one, fragmented data, but number two, they also struggle with the lack of AI literate talents. Yeah, I mean there are a lot of data scientists, but the density is at certain geographies. So for company to get access to some of these top-notch data scientists or AI engineers, it's not going to be that straightforward. So again, there has to be a balance between importing the skill set as well as building from within. And then thirdly, there's this whole thing about cultural resistance, the fear that automation will replace people. I think it's a real thing. People are really concerned. You talk to the layman. I mean, we are in this industry, so we don't really feel it. But the layman on the street, they are concerned, right? So I think important, and the layman in our organization. So this requires leadership commitment. One of the speakers talked about earlier on. Transparent governance, I think it's also very clear, very important. And there has to be a clear message, very clear message that AI is here to augment people. AI is here to augment people, not replace them. So I think that's going to be the tone from the top. That's going to be crucial to bring the organization together. We've worked with many organizations as they step into AI, and we journey with them. And those kind of commitment from the top management, the tone is going to be crucial. Thanks.
Yeah. And Vinod, you coming from the manufacturing side of things. So you probably have observed some of the transitions happening in the business. So what are some of the key challenges you have observed, and what do you guys do very differently to overcome those challenges? Yeah.
So I certainly agree with what Dr. Dean and Dr. Charlie mentioned first. Data is critical, right? If you don't have if you don't have a good set of data, AI is going to be almost useless, right? So we are ensuring that our data is first clean, right? We have the right set of data and it's digitized. It's not on paper, right? That's the first thing that we need to ensure. And we collect this data, we clean it up, and only on top of that, we have the AI layer working on it, right? Another challenge that maybe it's not spelled out much yet is the people, right? I think Dr. Charlie briefly mentioned is the skill set, right? One challenge we observed is there are different groups of people in an organization. We have new college graduates. We also have very mature leaders, right? And different people embrace AI differently. We realize, at least in our organization, new college graduates are very good in it, right? They embrace it very quickly. They're very excited. They get into it and they do it. The top leaders, of course, they advocate it very strongly, right? So there's a middle layer that's a little bit of a challenge in the organization, right? So they need to they get directed by their bosses to actually embrace it and adopt it and transform their business. They have people under them who can do it, but the middle layer is sometimes a little stuck, right? They don't have enough knowledge and all that. So one tip that we are doing here in Micron is uh, you have heard about mentoring, right? Typically, a leader mentors the junior staff, but here we are also trying to do reverse mentoring, right? So we need to create a psychologically safe environment for this reverse mentoring to happen, where we learn from the junior staff on some of these AI tools. I think it can be awkward in an organization, right? But if we start doing it, if leaders start exemplifying it, then it can become normal and it'll be a very healthy relationship to build. And just to share, the first one who did this in Micron, reverse mentoring, was our CEO. So he had a reverse mentoring session with new college graduates. So that, totally made us think, right? If he can do it, why can't we do it?
Oh, that's a very interesting point. Reverse mentoring. You learn from people who knows better, but doesn't
Yeah.
mean you're junior, senior, you have a barrier there.
Correct.
And William, you work with a lot of organizations, and you have to educate them quite a bit. What are some of the challenges you have observed and what you think needs to be overcome quickly? Yeah.
Yeah, so basically there are two kind of organizations: the early adopters and the followers. And we observed there's many early adopters, they fail. I mean, the failure rate is very high. We actually get approached by many of these early adopters, they fail their AI projects. So the thing is, if the early adopter doesn't have a success AI project story, it's very difficult for the follower to follow suit, but the follower maybe is the large market share you want to capture, right? So it's critical to convince the early adopter that why they fail, and then we're able to help them to succeed where other people fail. I think that's quite challenge. Yeah, because they have this mental barrier or also financial barrier from trying again. But I think that's critical. But I think I agree that in that case that the management's top-down approach is probably quite important because I mean, like middle layer manager probably they don't want to bet on their career to do again, right? So something like that. So that's quite. So you need to talk to founder and also the top manager to convince to do again. I think that's quite important. Yeah. Otherwise, the next wave is there's no adopter, then technology just die, right?
True. So you just keep creating, but no one is using it. There's no good use case. That's a
Yeah.
waste of resources.
Because in industry the trust is important and the mouse important. People's mouse important, right?
Right. And